Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu 5. It is now July the 4th, 2019. Happy 4th of July. And I wanted to film a video talking about the difference between grilling and barbecue. This is a real thing. In Texas, there are several things we hold sacred. That is steak, Tex-Mex or Mexican food. They're kind of in the same category. Tex-Mex is Texas' interpretation of Mexican food. But you got steak, Tex-Mex, barbecue, and chili. And those are like the big things. And in just about every moderate-sized town, you're going to find a steakhouse, you're going to find a Mexican food restaurant, and you're going to find a barbecue restaurant. And the steakhouse and the barbecue restaurant are separate restaurants. Not to say you can't have barbecue in a steakhouse. You know, they do sometimes serve ribs and stuff, but in general, a steakhouse is different from a barbecue restaurant. Back on the subject. I'm trying not to say the word. It's a tick that I have, and it's a filler word that I use, and I'm trying to break myself of that habit. Anywho, me having experience with different northerners and different people of different regions of the United States, and just hearing people talk, you'll hear people oftentimes up north saying, "Oh, we're going to barbecue this weekend and cook some hot dogs and some hamburgers." No, you're not. I have never heard of anybody legitimately barbecuing hot dogs or burgers. I'm not saying no one's never done it, but grilling and barbecuing is two different things. Now, the main difference between barbecue and grilling is with grilling, you're using high heat for a shorter cook time, and you're not really flavoring the meat. I mean, you're flavoring the meat with the smoke, but you're usually using charcoal. Now, with barbecuing, it's a completely different thing. You're using low heat, and the basic flavoring agent is the wood. You're using the smoke. And in Texas, mesquite is a big thing. You'll find pecan wood, and you'll find apple wood, peach wood. Jack Daniels used Jack Daniels wooden barrels that have been chipped up. You're using the wood as a flavoring agent. And yes, we do have rubs and barbecue sauce. But technically speaking, you can have barbecue without rubs and sauce. But it just so happens that different barbecue regions, like, Tennessee and Texas and different regions that are famous for their barbecue, have different styles of barbecue. And I think in Texas, the main thing, we do use barbecue sauce on a regular basis, but I think we're kind of more traditionally a rub state. And I think Memphis is more of a sauce region. Anywho, back on subject. With barbecue, you're using low heat and you're using smoke from the different woods. And a barbecue pit is different from a grill. You can grill on a barbecue pit, but you can't really barbecue on a grill. But on a barbecue pit, you have this rather long barrel that the top half is a lid. You have a cooking surface grate, and then you have a box that's offset to the cooking surface, and that's where you put your wood. So that's where you put your mesquite. You might soak the wood in some kind of liquid to make it steam up a little bit to keep the meat moist. And barbecuing is very similar to smoking. It's very similar concept. They're almost, one and the same historically. There goes some fireworks. Anywho, but you have this pit, this box that's offset to the cooking surface. You put your charcoal and wood in there. You light that up. You close that, and then the smoke enters the cooking surface through a hole in between the smoke box or the wood box and the cooking surface, and that's what keeps your low heat and I said that word again, and smoke in the cooking area to flavor and cook the meat. Now, there is a different type of barbecue pit that's more closer or akin to the grill, and that is the Santa Fe barbecue pit. It has a box on the bottom with that you put your charcoal and wood in, and it's more similar to a grill in the fact that you have a cooking surface above the heat source, but it has some chains and you have a ratchet or a crank that lowers and raises the cooking surface to get the temperature that you want and to get the smoke exposure that you want. So you get more low heat, long period of time cook time. And the thing about it is, with grilling can be a spur of a moment thing. You can go to a campground and use one of them terrible grills and be like, hey, you feel like eating some hot dogs, or you feel like eating some burgers or a steak? Let's light up the grill and cook it, and about 15-20 minutes later, you're ready to eat, depending on what you're cooking. Now, a barbecue is a more planned out thing. You have to kind of plan to do this. You have to have your wood, you have to have whatever sauces or rubs you're doing, and it's a longer process. It takes a longer amount of time. Now, I can kind of grill. I'm not the best at grilling. I can kind of grill, but I don't have the experience to barbecue. But I have barbecued before. I was on a barbecue team, I guess you can say, for charity, but I just did the rubs. I didn't really man the barbecue pit that much. But I did help on a barbecue team once. Anyways, with the Santa Fe one, you have the cooking surface that lowers and raises. And I think this is it's called the Santa Fe barbecue pit. I think they use it in New Mexico and possibly California. And this is probably more historically accurate compared to the historical barbecue. Barbecue comes from the Caribbean, I believe. It was discovered by Europeans when the Spanish started, or the Europeans started coming to the Caribbean. The Spanish came first, and then the rest of Europe came. And what the natives would do is they'll build this platform. It's like a little wooden table that's set above a low-setting fire, and they would smoke strips of meat across the cooking surface with smoke and cure it and make beef jerky. And this jerky would last longer than regularly cooked meat, and so you can actually preserve it, take it with you, and travel with it and eat it as you go. And this is where we get the term buccaneer or bucanier. Basically, the Europeans who liked this cooking method, and they would make beef jerky for the travelers in the Caribbean. The Caribbean was a stopping point from South America to Europe, so you would go to different regions of South America, make a pit stop in the Caribbean, and then you go to Europe. And the bucanier or the buccaneers would make jerky and sell it to the travelers who are going back to Europe. And these bucanier or buccaneers, depending on what native tongue you speak, would become pirates or privateers. Keep in mind there's a difference between privateers and pirates. They do a very similar job, but they are very different people as far as the legal status. I'll get into that in a different video. So the Santa Fe grill is probably more closely related to the Native American cooking method, but in general, like in Texas and Memphis, Tennessee, and some of the other places famous for barbecuing, we use pits. And the pit just has an offset smoking area that keeps the low heat and smoke on the meat. So that's it. That's the basic video. I'm not saying you can't barbecue hot dogs, burgers, or steaks. I've never heard of anybody actually doing it. It could happen. You could, use flavored wood or different types of wood on low heat for a long cook time and do that. But it's just funny because growing up where I grew up in East Texas, hearing other people from up north say, "Yeah, we're going to barbecue some hot dogs," it's like, why? That is way overkill, and it's probably not going to. It's you're treating those hot dogs like they're a expensive cut of meat. But that's it. That's the video. I'm gonna cut it off now. Thank you for watching. I'm a Satsu 5, and I'm out.